Hello, warriors. Welcome back to another episode of the Cleanse, Heal, Ignite podcast. I am your hostess, Dr. Diane Kaiser. I am a board certified doctor of traditional naturopathy. And this is not our normal Warrior Wednesday with Doc Talk with me as your hostess. We're bringing on somebody today, David Wolf, one of my favorites, to talk about, this is the episode name that you've already probably seen the image of, HANTAVIRUS outbreak, next lockdown, ticks, alpha-gal, and deadly meat allergy, what's really going on and what to do instead, and things that you could do to prepare your immune system, ideally. And if you saw my post on social media today, as well as David's, we're both wondering the same thing. Are they really going to try this again? Yes, they are. Passengers on the cruise ship we are about to show a video of are tied to a suspected hantavirus case. They're now being evacuated and flown to Holland. I mean, is this CGI? Is this AI? Who knows? Are the aliens recording it from another planet? Who knows? But isn't it strange that the new fear virus being pushed by the media, we're calling it Santa virus, was also listed as an adverse side effect of the COVID shots? It just might be a coincidence, maybe. And the other thing we're going to talk about today is ticks gone wild. But basically, the video I'm about to show you and the images I shared in social media today is the last hantavirus, aka Santa Claus virus, outbreak in America was in 1993. And this is on David's social media today. It was exactly 33 years ago. And there's something else about 33. I think there was like 33 deaths or something, but you just can't make this shit up, like David said. I'm just wondering, and we're wondering if anybody else thinks this whole thing just feels strange. But let's show the video clip just so you guys can get a taste. And then we will talk about ticks and what to do to arm your immune system as well, because those are disgusting too, the things we're seeing. Can't hear that audio, Paula. Sorry, guys. I don't know what's going on with this. We've had issues today with Restream. We're going to try it again. Yeah, it's not playing. That one's not playing. So, Paul, I'm going to have to send you a link and we'll just bring David on and we'll pause for a moment. This is strange. I was trying to use ChatGPT today too, and it was telling me that I couldn't access it or use it. So must be in the field. I don't know. But let's bring David on so we could start talking about the maybe conspiracy of what's happening here. Not that we just want to talk about the bad news, because we got a lot of good news coming on too. Welcome, David.
Thank you. Great to be here. We have a lot to cover, and it's going to be really deep. So get out your pen and paper, and let's get after it.
Yeah, as usual. And David and I, as you can see, we both planned our haircut today, our hairdo.
Wow, we got the same hairdo.
We got the same hairdo. Yeah, this is the easy maintenance hairdo day. But okay, so Paula, our director, who's trying to fix these tech things behind the scenes, sent me a few things this morning because I'd heard about some of this Hanta nonsense going on. But then I saw yours and I was like, David knows about it too. So what is your best estimate? Well, first tell us who you are, David, because some people might not know who you are. If they don't, then now they will.
Right on. I'm David Avocado Wolf. I've been a nutritionist for over 30 years. I've been at the leading edge of superfoods, super herbs, some of the more interesting supplements out there like activated charcoal, and of course, famous resins like shilajit. So those are things I've been driving for the last 30 years. And also a big fan of fasting, and we lead groups into big fasts. So those are the things that we do, to occupy our time. I'm in the middle of the fast right now, actually, day 2, and very excited about that. We can get into that. But at any rate, I'm also a conspiracy theorist. I grew up as a conspiracy theorist, and I've always known that the money's fake. The whole system is completely fake and bizarre. And that's why I've been urging people to get really real about their diet, nutrition, also with their money, like get actual real gold and silver, not any of the fake stuff, and things that have real value in life, like fruit trees, land, and food. So we could survive whatever is coming, and it's getting crazier and crazier. So we're going to all band together and we're just going to keep fighting on.
Yes. And so you guys can hear the tone in David's voice and the tone in my voice. We're not out here panicking. We're not here wanting to argue, compete. I'm the biggest influencer. I'm a God complex. It's like, that's what I love about David and working together. It's not a competitive thing. And I feel like that's the other thing that they're trying to do right now. We're actually not trying. It's actually happening. It's a frequency of people who are really just competing against each other. And it's like, David, do you think we're already in civil war, or is it like this thing that's going to one day come and then that's the symptoms that we know it's here?
It's already happening. It's been happening for years, probably all our lives. I mean, the endless war has continued on all our lives. And one of my earliest memories was seeing the video of the fall of Vietnam with the helicopter coming off the roof. It's one of my earliest memories of my life back in 1975. So it's been going on the whole time. It just, the theater moves around, but you're not safe anywhere that you are. You just have to live to the max fullest, stay out of the hairs of the beast system. And we will eventually get through this. I mean, that's the thing. What follows winter every single time? Spring. And our day will come. We just have to fight on. I don't know what this is. It's obviously a lot about deception and inversion. There's, just so many things we could go down that rabbit hole, but the most important thing is you, right? Who's listening? Like you have to put the mask on yourself before you can save your child or anybody else. When that moment comes, you have to save yourself first, focus on your own healing. Then you can help others, right? So only by saving yourself can you save others.
Yeah, it's true. And I think that there's a shift that needs to happen. I remember about 10 years ago, not 15 years ago, when I started looking deep into this whole shadow concept, like Carl Jung philosophy of the ego, the non-self, the multiple selves, the multiple parts work, and realizing that, oh, wow, I guess I've been programmed to be the best and to compete and to perform for whatever kudos. A lot of people are still trapped in that paradigm. And I think it's difficult to actually sit down and do what you're talking about. Like, think about yourself first and healing yourself first. But I don't think that you can work on healing yourself first, or maybe it kind of goes alongside without killing this ego concept. Because right now, if all you're thinking about is money and performance and numbers and followers, then you're blinded to what really matters, which is to do what David's talking about. So what are your thoughts on that too, David? Like the whole paradigm?
That kind of thing. It's social Darwinism, and it came with it was all planned and prepped up for the masses, that they would drive the monkey story and the art Darwinism and the dinosaurs and all of that stuff is a plan to get us basically beating each other up through competition, through social Darwinism, and very little actual like survival of the fittest is actually happening out there. It's almost all cooperation. And by the way, survival of the fittest actually makes no sense. Who survives? The fittest. Who are they? The ones who survive. It's a tautology. It makes no sense. So that's how all their things are. All their deceptions are like a screen, like science. But when you actually look, you're like, oh, the science led right to your bank account. You know what I'm saying? So all of this stuff is a smoke screen of fake explanations for everything almost in our whole civilization. And then when you really just look under the hood, you're like, this is all a scam. Like the survival of the fittest is a scam. It's not predictive. You can't use it. Like, who survives? The fittest. Who are they? The ones who survive. It doesn't make any sense, actually. It's an absurdity. So we've got to get more into the cooperative mindset and let go of the competitive mindset. Sure, that's a little part of life, but that's for sports and things like that. It's not for each other. It's like your own competition is, there's only one person you're competing against. It's yourself. And you're just trying to do better and better and better, inside yourself. That's all you can do.
And because I just sent to Paula the video to try to play it again. It's I downloaded it onto my phone, and let's see if it works on X, because I kind of went down a rabbit hole today with this whole. I was like, okay, let's look at the clickbait.
By the way, I call it the junta virus.
What do you call it?
The junta. Like a junta is like a Latin word for a government takeover.
Oh, that's perfect.
The junta virus. Anyway, let's see if this works.
Yeah.
You may have heard about the cruise ship that's been stranded for days near Cape Verde. They had a rare virus outbreak that left 3 people dead and a few more sick. And it's allegedly due to a thing called the HANTAVIRUS, which is, listen to this, an airborne virus that comes from rodents' droppings, urine, or saliva, and that also transmits from human to human. What was the COVID story again? It came from a bat and a pangolin in some wet market. And do you remember in January 2020, the people stranded on the Italian ship? A lot of similarities. But wait, in this one, there's a plot twist. One woman left the ship and collapsed at the airport in Johannesburg, probably infecting other people, just like in the movie Contagion. Now, the fake news media is sharing this blogger's video on purpose, trying to spread fear amongst us.
All we want right now is to feel safe.
You can act like a man,
What's the matter with you?
These fear campaigns usually starts with the WHO saying there's nothing to worry about, but we're monitoring the situation in case people fall for it. And that's when they crank the story, the fear meter, and the mandates. So let's do ourselves a favor and keep that story right where it belongs.
Perfect segue to what we were just saying, David. And I would say not just turn on your mind, but turn on your intuition, because the mind could also be the programmed ego that wants you to fall for this stuff. Like you said, would you call it HANTAVIRUS?
Yeah, the HANTAVIRUS. My friend John Fleetwood has upturned evidence that their next big scam pandemic is going to be the bird flu. So personally, I think this one's going to pass us by. I think they're going to just work up the fear, see what they can get away with, see what, maybe they can come up with more injections for people, see what kind of fear they can get for Loosh. And then it will fizzle out because the big money, where the big money is moving towards the bird flu. And so I would say that's most likely where their next scam is going to be. And so I think that'll be some years down the road. I think right now they've got what they want from Trump, right? Get the endless war and the endless thing. So they like what he's doing. So they're like, okay, yeah, more of that, more of that, more of that. So they're not going to distract us with some other crap.
Yeah. Okay. So that's really helpful to know. So I've been actually seeing, because I pay attention to the Loosh that they throw out, and see what they get in the net, so to speak.
Yeah.
Yes. And actually the net is the internet. So who knows the words that they're using. All of those are casting spells, I believe, too. But what they're saying about this Santa virus, the HANTAVIRUS, looks exactly like how COVID began. So is that kind of like what they're doing? Like, we'll start with the same formula. Let's see how many people, how do they know how many people that they can get caught up in this fear? Like, is it based on shares on social media or what?
Yeah, they're looking at all. Yep. They're using AI to analyze everything. So shares on social media, likes, comments, concerns, behavioral changes. I mean, this is what they're using their AI for. And when I say them, I'm talking about the United States military and the banksters who control the United States military. That, they have the most sophisticated AI on earth by far, by the way, because people are like, China's coming after us, Russia. It's like, Russia's entire GDP is the state of Texas. It's not even the state of Texas.
Wow.
Just to put that in perspective, because people don't realize that. Then Russia, oh my God, it's like Russia's entire output of all of their whole entire economy is less than Texas. Just a little FYI on that.
Russia and China, you mean?
No, just Russia. Now, China has a tremendous output because they can copy and mass produce, of course, but ultimately they're going to fizzle out because they've got a one-child problem, which is they're going to suffer from a depopulation collapse. So will the U.S., so will all the big nations in the world. But I'm not worried about China. China will never be the world power. Russia will be the next world power, but it's still years and years and years away.
Okay. I have so many different octopus tentacles going out to where I want to go with that. So USA, I mean, we see labs all day long. We work with patients all day long. We're having people who are wanting to freeze their eggs because they're not sure when they want to have a baby and they're older. And then we have people, we used to have a lot of women wanting to have children, but that's another kind of social experiment in our own practice. We don't have a lot of women who are wanting to get pregnant anymore. It's obviously the eugenics plan is significantly down. We have testosterone levels down, and 20-year-olds are like half of them haven't even had sex or had any kind of connection with a woman for like 1 or 2 years, is that a study that was just done. And then women, when we look at their labs, we see tons of xenoestrogens, and that's what's happening with, their testosterone levels plummeting as well, not to mention men. So we obviously have eugenics happening in various different ways. And then now Lyme's coming out. And I want to talk about that at some point in this show too. Like, what are the biggest concerns? Like, what concerns are there that are in the mainstream media or the whatever media that's out there? What are the ones to actually pay attention to? Because as we know, we have this Loosh effect. Let's see, we can cast in the net. And then we have, for me, whenever I feel this, David, and I don't know, maybe you have some advice for the people as well listening. If I feel my nervous system rising and I feel like I am in a frenzy, I'm like, that is what they want. They want our nervous system to be so triggered and in chaos, and we're distracted. So we can't focus on the first thing that you mentioned on the show, which is to truly focus on self and healing. So what kind of advice would you have for people out there with that? Because that's what I feel like really is the Loosh, is just the nervous system spiking. And that's like the energy zapping. That's the frequency wars.
Yeah, that I mean, what I would say is you're better off with just definitely turn off the television and curate your feeds, because no matter what they're throwing at us, we know what the problem is, and that is everybody is toxic AF.
Hmm.
Toxics through the roof. And if you want to look at that on social media, okay, you can see evidence to support what I'm saying. We live in a toxic civilization. Our entire 20th century and 21st century on Earth will be defined by how toxic it is. The microplastics is obviously part of that. The heavy metals are part of that. The parasites are part of that. The xenoestrogens and all the related compounds in nature that are, being artificially generated by human beings and sprayed everywhere. That's all part of it. So it's ultimately going to come down to, like, just stay away from their little loose net and just stay on point with what your protocols are. For example, I'm up here fasting. I'm doing hots and colds. I'm doing, hour in the sauna. I'm by myself, so I'm going deep. It's just epic. So, you a lot of fun just healing yourself, working on your own health. It's, the hot cold thing, going to the icy waters up here in Northern Ontario and then back into the sauna and then back and forth. It's one of the greatest highs ever known. I mean, it's hard to beat that. Beat social media every day of the week. I mean, scrolling and looking at screens, forget it.
Yeah. Yeah. I've been actually going through and doing that same thing, like a big cleanse, big purge. And actually you can consider that a parasite purge too, because with the information you're being fed, the real parasite, I believe at first, is they get your frequency down with all of the fear porn. And then your immune system goes with that, like the psychoneuroimmunology. And so if you really want to heal your immune system, it's not just like taking thymosin alpha 1 and dosing yourself with superfoods. And we're going to talk about all that in the next episode as our part 2. Right now, we're kind of focusing on the problem, and not just what is the problem and how to block yourself from letting it affect you by doing that kind of purge so that you're not exposed to it as much, but also like how to respond when you're seeing this news so that you don't get loosed and then zaps your nervous system, zaps your immune system. So we're going to have some solutions for you guys too. As I always talk about the blockers and the builders, like David has a lot of builders in his superfood store. We're going to talk about that next. But the blockers, that's just as important. Like what is it? What do I need to undo? Not just what do I do, but what do I undo that's impacting me?
Yeah.
So would you like to expand on that a little bit, David? Because I want to talk about the bird flu a little bit.
I love the Taoist system that, they talk about that as leakage, actually. So instead of blocking, it's you're leaking energy. So we got to be very careful of the things that leak energy from us. For example, going out and having lavish giant meals at restaurants is usually an energy leakage, wipes you out. There's, crazy amounts of glyphosate and stuff like that. Even if it's organic, it's like, okay, then we want to do that occasionally, but not all the time. That's an energy leakage or a jing and chi leakage phenomenon. And then we would just want to look at, like, okay, are you in traffic every day? Are you leaking energy from being upset with the traffic? Can you get going with like drive time education, drive time university, where you're able to study while you're in the car, so you're not leaking energy by listening to some drive time radio thing that's freaking you out. There's so many pieces of that. Like even your sleeping environment, is your sleeping environment nourishing you, or is it a leakage, right? Is it exposing you to more toxins, or is it helping you deal with the toxic load by being a non-toxic environment, your sleeping environment? I mean, I've got, air doctors running all the time. My air doctor's running back there. I also have an air doctor in the back of the house. I've got a wood burning stove right here, which is epic.
I saw your video on that.
This is so epic. There's no electricity, no oil, no gas.
Yeah.
If you've got wood and you can start a fire, you're running this thing 24/7 all through the whole year if you want.
Yeah, back to the old school days, back to the Flintstones. Another reason why I'm wearing this shirt is like going back to
this is my Bam Bam shirt. So you're totally nailing it right now.
Are you serious?
Totally. Yep. My audiovisual guy, Scotty, calls this my put on your like Pebbles and Bam Bam shirt.
Wow. This is what's called synchronicity, and you're where you're supposed to be and having the best day ever. So, okay, David, I want to go into that, like everything that you just said, because the chi, the Tao, the sleep. Okay, I'm still seeing this, and there's a lot of people who are new to me, or I know there's a lot of people new to you, because people like us have been speaking about this for decades. Like my very first exposure, I have two, hero claims for David today. My first exposure to superfoods was when I was reading your superfoods book on the beach in San Diego when I lived down in Orange County on my Kindle, just before I traveled the world and went and had an internship with the guy who wrote The Idiot's Guide to Raw Food. And I learned a lot about that then, and how to eat high frequency food, alive food, fermenting food. Then I went and traveled the world and learned more about how other people are living culturally, socioeconomically, and dietary. So I just learned a lot about that. So I thank you for that. So David, truly, for me and for all of you out there, you've got to check out everything he's talking about superfoods, because our food is pretty much, at this point, people are like, oh, eat organic. I'm like, yeah, but even organic at this point has some degree of like GMO in it, or glyphosate, atrazine from neighboring farms. So that's why superfood is more important, because it's kind of like the food used to be 50 years ago. But I want to talk about this specifically. The superfoods that you bring into your world, like the immune system, sleep, the sleep. Let's talk about sleep for a minute, because what we're seeing right now, many people who are new to me, they're still wearing Apple Watches all day. They're not unplugging their Wi-Fi. They're not looking at screens. Like I don't know why you don't wear blue blockers. I'd like to know that. I'm always wearing blue blockers. I can't look at screens anymore without getting some degree of frequency. I feel like a headache in my body. I just can't sleep as well. So I'd love to talk about superfoods before sleep, and then also what is the sleep hygiene, and then EMF interference. That is a huge topic. How do you block EMF interference, especially around sleep?
Okay, great. Well, I'm way up here in the far north. I basically live in this room right here. I sleep right there most of the time. See right behind me there? See that? That's my couch, but I actually sleep there most of the time because energetically it's in the right place in the house. So I like to be there. My Wi-Fi automatically cuts out and automatically turns on. So during those sleeping hours, it's off, and it's like, oh, can't be on my phone. Oh, can't be on a device, which is nice because that gets me reading more books. It's a good strategy. Another thing that we do here, obviously, is I've got 2 grounding pads here. Actually, let me show you this. Just, I'm out here in the wilderness, so my ground is good ground. And so this is a conductive pad attached to the ground wire of this building. So when I'm on electromagnetic devices like I'm on right now, the ground drives electrons up into me and pushes the impact of the technology away. That's been proven repeatedly. That's one of the most important things, I think, in all of the discoveries of things we can do about remediating aberrant electromagnetic fields. I, of course, also have all my gadgets and goodies and, all the things around here. Most of it's sitting, the computer's actually sitting on it. One of the things I have is I have a red light developed by a friend of mine. He calls the product Glow. That's actually like everything is flickering, right? All these lights are flickering. This light does not flicker ever. So it's a red light. I should show it to you. Let me see if I can just grab it here. Yeah, here it is. So this thing does not.
That's the same one I have.
Okay, yeah. So let me tell you a little hack on that is you should always have that on whenever you're using any electromagnetic devices, because it will normalize the environment because it's not flickering. Okay, so that's that. I learned that from the developer of that technology. I was like, whoa, I didn't even know about that use. So that's why I have it here now. That changed my life. Also around here, I've got orgonite. I've got some of the best orgonite ever. I got guys who they are absolute experts. I'm just trying to see if I can grab one, but the computer's just too far. It's sitting on it.
You introduced us to these people.
Yes. And so over there there's a table over there that carries my, we call those things sucker punches.
Yeah.
And also I'm wearing my zapper right now too.
Yeah.
Actually here, watch this. Now I've got a new one out. So this is for, if anybody's interested in this, you can get on a waiting list. This is my avocado zapper.
Oh, does that look like a shoe? It looks like a little shoe or a mouse almost.
Isn't that cool?
And wow. It's got a clip on it.
Yes. And so it's just been clipped into my pants. Now I'm running right now a Lilly biofilm 432 hertz, 432 hertz waveform. That's a whole story in upon itself. Maybe we'll get into that on the next show, but this is a wearable, easy device.
Yes.
Right? Because it clips right in. So I'm clipped in now. So I'm just talking to you anyway. I might as well be zapping myself. The power of this against parasites is crazy. The long-term vision of this, I've been using zappers for over 30 years. It's it change your life. That's why you have it. You see it, you have one because there's something special about it. There's something really deep that we could go into on electromagnetic fields that are good for you.
Yes.
What we have around us, we're in an inversion. So all this sine wave, cosine, 60 hertz, 120 volt is completely toxic. It could be made to be good for us, but for whatever reason in the inversion, it's upside down clown town. It's not. So what we do, I do a number of things with my electricity here, and I'm gearing up I had to become an electrical engineer to develop this zapper. And I'm getting better at some of the bigger stuff, including building electronics. And so the next thing that's going to happen here is I'm going to install it's an in-series type of shunt capacitor, which will neutralize the grid, the carrier waves that are coming in off the grid.
The grid?
Yeah, the grid, because this is an old ski resort. So this house is not off grid. It's on grid. So I have to neutralize that using some pretty interesting technology. So, and also we have off grid stuff here as well. I have solar and whatever, but I've got big Frankenstein switches over here from the days when it was running the lifts.
Oh, true. Wow.
Yeah. So it's a lot. I mean, it's a lot of power coming into this house. All the neighbors call this the electric house. But I've got it pretty well neutralized. I mean, I can sleep right there and everything's fine. But definitely this electromagnetic field disturbance that's going on for people. Whoa. We're also in nature. I'm barefoot, right? Always barefoot. Because I can run out the door doing my farming and stuff. I'm running a farm. This is a farm. And so I'm grounded every time when I get into that ice cold water. I'm grounded. So I'm always grounded when I'm up here. That's a thing to consider. That's something you want to be aware of. You want to sleep grounded if you can too, which means you want to have something like this. There's ones for sleep, but that touches you when you sleep.
Yeah, there's so much about this. This is like, I feel like this is the biggest nervous system disturbance is these frequencies. And I had my home when I lived in Sedona tested, and we didn't have that many 5G towers back then, or 4G for that matter. Not very many. It was a smaller town, 11,000 people live there, but I was still not sleeping well. And I had Brian Hoyer come over, and there's episodes that you guys can go watch, I think like 2 or 3 seasons ago. And their team came over and measured the amount of electricity, not just, the EMF interference and what happens, with Wi-Fi, but when my breaker was turned off to my room, my electricity coming from the walls was like 30 times higher than would be healthy, especially in a sleep and rest environment where you're supposed to, produce your human growth hormone and burn fat while you sleep. And I'm like, no wonder why I was like having ear ringing and tinnitus when I was going to bed and waking up hearing the same thing. I'm like, is this my dim switches? But I still heard it even when the breaker was off. So, I mean, this is not just for someone like David at a ski lift. It's people who are living in normal neighborhoods and not even close to 5G towers or 4G towers where I lived at that time. So, I mean, is what you're developing, David, is it something that will help people that they could do in their own home as well?
Absolutely. Yeah. I'm learning it step by step. And the way that I live and where I live is just completely foreign, I think, to most people. It's what I learned that I really love and enjoy, which is I'm in the middle of the wilderness. I'm at the top of a ridge. It's, zone 3, 4 here, which is basically zone 2 is tundra. So we are close to a tundra type of environment up here, but it's a mixed forest. So I can grow apples and pears and mostly berries. I mean, we're a berry farm. And by the way, those superfoods, they're all frozen in that freezer right there. That entire freezer is full of last year's berries. So when I come off this fast, the first thing I'm going to be doing is blending that up with a little bit of honey, a little bit of coconut milk, and
very nice.
Bam, away we go.
Yeah. Superfoods. We're going to get into that in episode 2, you guys. We're going to get into Lyme next too, because I mean, when I think about the things that we see in our patients' lab results, like first of all, people are toxic AF, like you said. And what we do and we love to do is something called a root cause reset. I mean, it's the first place we start with patients is to start them on toxins and to see what type of toxins, heavy metals, xenoestrogens, environmental toxins, mold mycotoxins, because that's huge today. It's the #1 problem that we're seeing. Wasn't that way 6 years ago, but it's gotten worse. So we start them there with our patients. But if you're somebody who wants to join, we're having an 8-week reset again starting June 2nd. That's dianekaiser.com/RCR. And you learn more about what we do there. The reason I do this, because some people are like,
isn't it June 4th? I think it's June 4th.
Oh, is it June 4th? It's the first Tuesday. Is it June 4th? Okay, sorry, June 4th. I think that we said that the week before is the last week to enroll. Thanks, David. So the reason we start there, because some people are like, well, you don't need to do a bunch of testing to know that you're toxic. Sure. However, what I like to say about this is that most people need to see to believe. Just like Santa Claus, how real Santa Claus is. I'm sorry, hantavirus. Okay, I don't know. Um, but they need to see, oh, wow. But in order to make it a priority. So when we do it this way, we start with talking about the environment, where your toxins are in the environment, how to navigate those, Air Doctor Pro, lots of things to reduce the toxins of where they're coming from. And then we move into like customizing how to get them out. We talk about superfoods, doing things that you're referring to, David. So anyway, that's coming up. But outside of that, what we're also seeing is a lot of Lyme. We're seeing a lot of people who are struggling with what is Lyme and how you get rid of it. People are putting antibiotics forever. I had one patient, David, she was diagnosed with Lyme and for 2 years was on a constant round of 2 or 3 antibiotics. And it never went away. And I'm like, basically your immune system is gone. And her stool test, she had virtually no immune system left. And I said, has it ever dawned on you that you might have gotten a false positive on Lyme because you have breast implants? And women who have breast implants, they get false positives all day long. So then we got her out, her breast implants out, but talk about biofilm. Breast implant illness women have the more biofilm than anybody I've ever seen, including myself. And that's why I wrote this book that you can see up here called Killer Breasts. And David has referred people to us so we can help them on that journey. But let's talk a little bit more about—
You saved a very good friend of mine and a woman who works for me. You saved her life. It was because she was like, it was like, I don't know, maybe February, March, something like that. And she was like, yeah, I'm going to see if I can have these breast implants removed in September. And I was like, look, I'm telling you, you're not going to make it.
Yeah.
You know, you were coaching her along and she was like, gonna have them removed. And I was like, not going to make it. It's got to be immediately, like now. And she ended up like emergency going, having it done as quickly as possible. And it saved her life. She would not have made it. I guarantee you.
And thanks to you for saying that, David, because she reached out to me. I think somehow she got my phone number. And I know we did work on this before. And I was actually out farming somewhere. I can't remember where, but I was out on the ground and I had my bare foot in the grass. And she texted me and she's like, I don't think I'm going to make it past tomorrow. And I said, hang tight. I'm going to help you. Let me support you. And then we'd gotten to the position to find her a good surgeon, because that's important too. The surgeon that knows what they're doing.
That was what it was. Yeah. Because she was in such trouble. And then I think I told her, I said, you need to call Diane and actually you need to get it, like have her help you get somebody to do the job. And I think that's what you did. You lined her up with that surgeon down in Miami.
Yeah.
And that saved her life. I mean, and then on top of that, let me just tell you how crazy that was after the surgery. I mean, this is how toxic people with that, the toxic breast implant syndrome are. She couldn't poop. So I had to call another friend of mine in Miami and who's a colon hydrotherapist to go do a house call to like save her butt, literally. And then after that, she started getting better, step by step by step.
Yeah, actually, after our shows today, I have a colonic.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, we're all full of shit. I mean, even me, and I work really hard with my lifestyle, and I'm not perfect. Like, everybody wants us to like pedestalizes us that we are. I mean, you're as close to perfect, I think, in following these things than I am, David. It's not a competition, but yeah, and then after that, we had to work with a lot of her biofilm, and they actually wanted to, and we're kind of veering off. We'll come back to Lyme and these disgusting ticks. But what I was seeing with her is that she, just like me, then the next thing was that they a different doctor wanted to do back surgery on her. And she sent me the report. It was like a 15-page report. I was actually living in Sedona at that time. And I reviewed it and I said, are you aware that the parts that they want to put in your body for this surgery are the exact same material as your breast implants? Like when they put like little mini disc replacements into people, it was the same exact material as breast implants. I'm like, if you want to sign up for the next autoimmune disease and put yourself back into that same position, you would do that surgery. They also wanted to put mesh inside of her. And if anybody has watched The Bleeding Edge, that documentary talks about mesh complications. And so I told her there are other alternatives, consider other alternatives. And then we did a whole bunch of other things too. But much of my time is spent talking to my patients about, hey, look at what not to do, or just consider this because there's no informed consent here. And maybe there's another way.
Thanks for that work. I mean, that work is so critical. I mean, it's life-saving work. And so, we're turning a corner, right? So we're on the right track right now. We actually understand what we're dealing with. We have better tools than we've ever had before, and we're accelerating in their efficacy. So when you put all that together, it means you can get better faster now than ever before. You might be sicker than ever before, but you can get better faster than ever before.
Yes, yes, and that's what the next episode is. But let's focus in the last like 10 minutes or so here, David. I am very, very concerned about what we're seeing with this tick infestation, right? Like it is, I wanted to get your opinion on this because I cry. Like when I see these animals and how I just get sick thinking about it. How many ticks are in their eyes, their ears, and it's not just about pets. And we're showing pictures here if you guys are listening. It's not just pets. It's food too. People eat deer or cow, whatever it is. We're seeing the takedown, obviously, of ranches and raw milk farms, and chickens, and even any foods in the United States. I mean, we're losing our farmers, and the majority of them are using glyphosate, which is a national security threat to take out from the population of farmer usage, right? So what is your perspective on Lyme and this whole farm takedown thing too, and food in general?
I've studied Lyme's disease all the way to the point of, Lyme's disease was a gain of function weapon developed by Dr. Eric Traub in Operation Paperclip Nazi. That's a fact. He was moved from Insel, Reims, Germany to Plum Island, New York. If you radially analyze the prevalence of Lyme's disease, it radiates exactly out from that island, out into Connecticut, into New York State, Long Island, and out. Just the prevalence of cases is directly related to that center locus. Dr. Eric Traub was involved in gain of function research, exactly the wording they used in 1949, 1950, 1951 redacted documents that I uncovered. And it was scary to actually see what they were working on tick diseases then, and with intent, and even going back into the Nazi times. Dr. Eric Traub's specialty was weaponized tick diseases. I mean, when you put it all together, it's, basically that, the US government became the Nazi government essentially with Operation Paperclip. And so the sciences kept going, into this dark route. And now we're at a real crisis because we have that, what's alpha gal. We've got Lyme. We've got many other weaponized tick problems, which means that the natural tick problems that were there originally weren't nearly like what we have today. This is all gain of function. So these things have been bred to be more dangerous, more problematic. That's important to know, because people are like, well, Lyme disease has been around for hundreds of years. It's like, yeah, but not the weaponized bred one, the one that was genetically bred for by Dr. Eric Traub, not that one. It was the other ones that existed in the natural environment. So we're going to have to be much more aware of ticks this season. This is a particularly high season. I think they know that. It's like a mast year. We say, those of us who grow acorns and oak trees, we call mast years. Like every 5 years, there's a flush of a lot. So they knew that this would be one of those big years for ticks. And then they're dropping the boxes. I think they're dropping them by airplane, just all over the place. So people have found boxes of ticks in the wilderness.
Mm-hmm.
So you can see how diabolical this is. This is where the war should be focused. I don't know what the U.S. military is doing over there, whatever that crap is, the endless war that goes on. It's so bad. It's like we have a war going on right here, and and actually, when we look at who the perpetrators are, they are people inside the U.S. military, actually. And the U.S. military has been out of control forever.
So when you say that they're the perpetrators, are they the ones that are flying the planes and they're complicit in this, and they are knowingly deploying these? So they know what are they taught to swear to silence, or like what's their deal? I mean, that just sounds like literal just zombies and parasites that are, the Nazis flying the planes. They know what they're doing.
They know what they're doing. Yep. They know what they're doing. And so that's a real hard one to take on, because see, you and I are normal people, and we actually are interested in healing people. When I look at like the Karen Basura, the mayor of LA, she's a bloodthirsty communist, a maniac, actually. She wants destruction. Actually, if you look at her closely and you trust your intuition and you trust what you're seeing, you will see a psychopathic control freak. And unfortunately, our civilization is riddled with these types of beings. They're always leading the communist revolutions. They're always the one driving the socialism. All that stuff, the communism and the socialism, is just an excuse for that pathological entity or personality to get into power. Once they get into power, we know what happens then. Then it's just overt tyranny.
So yeah, even getting into it, like you can have good intentions getting into it, just like a doctor or anybody else, you get programmed out of it, right? Like there's no way to even bring good into it because they have they have to follow their plan.
Yes, I missed a little bit of what you said. I cut out there for a second, but can you hear me okay?
Yeah. I
Okay.
think maybe the internet just dropped, but like I cut you off a little bit because a lot of these people, and I know people running for governors in Arizona. I know people who are going through this, and I always ask them the same question, like how honestly, I'm just being direct here. What do you think will happen if you get into office? Do you really think that you can bring this good into office? I mean, people are like, oh, vote for, tell your senator this and count, your vote counts. I mean, does it really?
Yeah, I
With
mean,
any of this?
basically, we have to shut down the socialist bureaucracy or the communist bureaucracy, which is running all Western cultures, all Western civilizations being run by communist bureaucracies.
Yeah.
And we have to shut that down. So I will say it like this, and this is where we're going. Back in the day in Egypt, there was, Solon, who was the great lawgiver who came from Egypt. He went from Greece to Egypt, learned everything they had, came back to Greece, and he was the great lawgiver of Greece. We could say the same about Moses. We could say the same about Hammurabi. The era we're in now is the great law removers. That all platforms for all government is about removing all the laws and getting rid of all the control, removing the bureaucracies, removing everything. We have to get that zeitgeist into people's consciousness. We are in the era of the great law removers. Now is the time that we go in there and remove that job. We're getting rid of this job. We're removing that. That's gone. We're just throwing that away. Everything needs to be removed because the government is way, way out of control and filled with pathological personalities and also people who are just lazy or who have no morality, right? They couldn't make it as an entrepreneur. They couldn't make it. They don't have enough charisma. There's not enough moral fiber there. And they can't fake it. So they get jobs in the government.
Yeah, this is when this first came out, this whole COVID thing, I was just my title for a lot of shows where I was a hostess on was the real parasite cleanse is to really reprogram how these politicians operate. So I don't know what that means. Does it mean that what you're talking about, David, does it mean that we have no government? Does it mean that we just become our own best politician? What does that even look like?
You mean for us individually?
Yeah, when you're saying removing, just getting everything.
If it was me, you know what I would be doing? I'd be firing everybody. We're getting rid of this whole department. We're firing all that. We're fire sailing all the equipment. We're getting rid of it all because it's that parasite class, basically the government bureaucracy that is responsible for the insanity that's going on. They're ultimately the ones who are like, you didn't pay your bill. You didn't do this. Now, of course, they're trying to replace all of those people with AI.
Right. I know.
I mean, that's really what they want to do is like let's just get rid of, we don't have any, and we don't even want a chance that someone's conscious or could be a whistleblower. Let's just use AI. That's what they're trying in from the top. At the bottom though, dealing with the day-to-day, in our cities, for example, in North America, filled with maniacs, pathological personalities, control freaks, people who want to tell other people what to do because they can't control themselves. Now, and they can't make it themselves. So they basically get a job that's like a cozy up job with all their little benefits and all their little things. And then they just sit there and tell everyone what to do. That's communism, just to be clear.
Well, how do we do that? Because when you're the way, like the vision that I have is that some warrior comes in there and starts firing people, but like, who would that be? And how could that happen? Because there's that book, right? The Last President, and Donald Trump was the last president, and then, okay, bring in AI. Is that what this is talking about? So what do we do to start pulling weeds?
It's a grassroots thing. It has to come from the bottom up. It's a grassroots thing. So it has to be an individual thing, step by step from the bottom up. There's no chance of basically what's going to happen from the top down control thing that they're trying, which is, the world government, and then presidents are under their control and all the prime ministers are under their control. And by the way, I did say crime ministers.
Thanks for the slowdown.
Eventually what happens in that situation is all the different states, the different counties, the different provinces are going to separate away. We're not under your jurisdiction anymore. They're going to try to separate away. This is going to become a cascade of problems for them. Just FYI. And by the way, I just want to add one more thing as we close here. There's a thing called sunset laws, which means that the law is never permanent. It sunsets out after a year, 2 years, 1 month, whatever. All laws need to be sunset laws.
Yeah, lots to unpack there. And I, for one, am living this way. I'm not contributing or tithing anything for them to continue to leech off of my blood like the ticks that they are. I mean, politic? Wait, it's raining ticks? Break down the words, y'all. Okay, guys. So Paula is flashing something on the screen right now. I'm going to make an announcement for it. DianeKaiser.com/David and use Kaiser for 10% off all the superfoods and everything on a store. We're going to move into part 2 right now. So this one's live. The next one's going to go up in a couple of weeks for part 2, but we're going to go record that. You're going to want to listen to that because I've got some confessions and David's going to bring the wisdom because I'm new at some of these things. I'm just going to give you guys a clue. Urine therapy, peptides, and superfoods. Perhaps 3 of the best things that you could do for your immune system among the blockers that we talked about today and integrating those. We'll see you guys in that show. David, any final words as we wrap for this one?
Yes, today is the best day ever.
Yes. I always hear your voice when I'm having a hard day. Diane, it can be the best day ever. You're the one that gets to decide. All right, you guys, share this episode with people who you might think are lost and are getting loosed or want some real true solutions on what they could do about this stuff. Because yes, these things are happening to us, but they don't have to take us down. So see you in the next one. Thanks for being here, David. Bye for now.